All right, so in this one, I'm going to talk about how to control energy with meditation, and it's going to be 4 steps, all right? Separation, stillness, expanding awareness, and then finally oneness. All right, first, separation. The first step that any meditator has to take for meditation to do anything at all is to make the separation between our mind and our soul. Or you could say the witness or the observer and the mind that just likes to chatter away and doesn't shut the hell up. The mind that wants to control everything, that wants to plan everything, that wants to stay in the comfort zone versus the soul part of us that knows no limits, that is infinite, that is purely authentic, that just exists. That is our essence. And we got to change up how we're talking to ourselves. Stop saying, and I like how this explains it. Stop saying, I am insecure. Start saying, I feel insecure. Your mind believes what you tell it. Your feelings are visitors, they come and go. You are not your feelings, you're the one experiencing them. Separate your temporary feelings from your permanent identity. Once you realize you are not your body and your mind, they essentially become like puppets that you can control. You align with your higher awareness, your true self, and you start to become the controller instead of the controlled. All right, so that's the first step. Once we separate, it's going to become a lot more easier to be silent. When we realize that we are not our mind and the mind is creating all of our suffering because of the stories that it tells us, the stories that it creates, then we're like, oh, then why am I even giving it any energy? Why am I believing what it's telling me? And so it's more easier to center yourself in a state of just pure being, just pure present moment awareness. And when you first start meditating, you're probably not going to be able to sit there for that long, but that's cool. Exercise the muscle of just sitting there and doing nothing. We just get overloaded with tons and tons of information that we can't even hear ourselves think. We don't even know what we want. We don't even know who we are. And we're just addicted to it. So it feels weird now when we just sit there. But silence isn't empty, it is full of answers. Quiet your mind, your body, and senses. Enter a space of stillness that is free from external and internal noise. When you stop doing and just be, you allow the natural flow of awareness to bring insights and revelations. This silence is where wisdom and peace reside. So we are so overstimulated that it is impossible to be aware of energy. And we're too busy feeding into whatever our mind says, but stillness disrupts the loop. Being truly silent and just existing helps us to tap into the signal of whatever the universe is trying to tell us. When we are relaxed and present, we become a pure channel of energy. And when we're meditating, we just practice letting go of tension. I've said this in previous videos, but when I'm meditating, I start with some breathing. And this only takes like a minute or less now, just because I've been doing it for so long. When I find myself getting caught up in stress or worry or all of those different emotions, I take control of my breathing, and then I loosen up my body, let go of all the tension, and for some reason that just snaps me into the present moment. And I feel extremely limitless and expansive when I am loose and relaxed. There's a lot more things going on within us, going on in our internal world. There's a whole world within us. And there's a lot of things going on outside of us too that we don't even realize because we are like freaking rats just what's the next hit of dopamine? What's the next thing we can see on our phones? Our mind is too chaotic and overstimulated to even notice or appreciate these things. And so once we've mastered stillness and can tap into a state of silence whenever we want, that's when we can start to do some shit. So we're gonna start to just expand our awareness a little bit. And we can start with our own body. So I'm sure you've heard of a body scan. Enter the meditative state and basically just start going around different parts of your body and just noticing what you feel. What sensations do you notice? Tune into specific organs. I've heard of, I don't know if they're monks or what, but they are so aware, probably too much, that they can feel like when their body is digesting, their blood moving. Honestly, probably something I don't even want to get into, but you can get pretty deep with this. And the most important organ is the heart. We know how strong the electromagnetic field of the heart is. It's the strongest we got, and it sends out a way more powerful signal into the outside world than our brain does. So start to tune into this magnetic field. Just listen to your heart, right? What does that mean? It's not going to speak to you, but just notice how it feels in certain situations. You can ask it a question. Essentially, you can ask it for guidance and just see how it feels. Does it get tight or does it expand? Does it restrict or does it feel open? That is our number one source of that. Like, that's our intuition right there. That's our internal compass. And so this is just the start, right? We have pathways that go throughout our body called the meridians, channels that flow through our body that we can start to become aware of. We can start to notice how the elements play a role within us, and we can become aware of how energy flows through our body. So if you've heard of the microcosmic orbit, that's a thing from Mantak Chia. Talks a lot about energy flow, how to move it throughout our body, but I used to be big into practicing this consistently. Basically, when you meditate, you visualize energy kind of forming near your genitals, for lack of a better term. And then you breathe in. I'm pretty sure you breathe in, feel the energy coming up the back of your spine. And then as you breathe out, visualize it come back down through the front of your body. And that's what he calls the microcosmic orbit. And this is where we start to be able to literally move energy throughout our body. Here's a bit more of a detailed image. Reverse abdominal breathing. So energy gathers in our lower dantian. And then I actually forget the process, but this is what you can start to visualize. And then if you want to go deeper with it, there are multiple different ways to go about this. Basically, the main thing is that our visualization is very powerful. And with visualizing, we can move energy. This one's showing taking energy from our feet through the ground, up through our body, and then it's showing our connection with essentially the rest of the universe. We know the connection of chakras, for example, with dimensions, and then supposedly we have other chakras outside of us, and that's like our connection to the universe. I'm not going to go too deep with it, but that's what that's showing. These days, all I really do, and I have firsthand experience with this, I have done energy healing with my hands on my girlfriend. And there's a book that I read that really helped me to learn how to do this. I'm gonna find it right now. Quantum Touch. I don't know if you can even see it. Quantum Touch: The Power to Heal by Richard Gordon. Essentially, what I do is I visualize energy moving from my feet through up through my body and then through my fingertips. Well, first, even before that, I center myself in full presence and pure being to become a channel, right? To allow the energy to flow through. Then I use my visualization, and for some reason, I like visualizing blue light or energy going through my body when I do this. And again, it's whatever works for you, whatever you feel, and it sounds kind of stupid because we hear, "Oh, visualize your goals, they'll come into existence." And it's kind of become cliche, but we can move and manipulate energy with our awareness, with what we focus on. And I forgot to mention, I do sync my breathing up with the moving of energy. So I breathe in. As I do that, I'm pulling it up through my body. And then I breathe out. I visualize the energy going through my hands, going through my fingertips. And I think about the energy kind of like attuning with whoever I'm doing the healing on. I mean, you can visualize anything. But if you hear anyone talking about moving or manipulating energy, you start with practicing visualizing moving the energy, and you kind of like wake it up. You kind of wake up the ability to do it. I mean, you can visualize your chakras. You can visualize sending energy to the whole world or to a specific person. I do believe that's possible. But at the root of it, it's being able to control your emotions and to create any emotion and make that emotion more powerful, and you become more powerful. And so finally, I think to top it off is letting go so much that you reach a state of oneness with everything. You realize that there is no separation between you and the outside world, any people in it. It's all connected, it's all reflecting each other, and really trusting in the universe, trusting in life, God, whatever you prefer, and you can reach a state of pure being and expansion, where when you become one with everything, you can gain more control and power over it. But it's kind of a tough thing because we have to let go of control, we have to surrender to gain the kind of power that we want. Then, once you kind of master the basics, you can move on probably to things like levitation, telekinesis, cybernetics, astral traveling, projection, all that kind of stuff. This is kind of the base. So hopefully it helped. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you've tried any of this stuff and have experience with it. That's all I got. See ya.